Let's get funky, funky. Hi everyone, Sandra Sherman here. Greetings from Austria. In this guitar lesson, I'm going to be teaching you some great jazz funk grooves. You learn to play the laid-back New Orleans funk style as well as some great John Scofield funk grooves and jazz funk chords. Jazz funk is part of a lot of jazz sessions, so even as a jazzer, you definitely need to know how to play it. I'll show everything note for note, slow and easy, and there is also a fast and a slow playthrough for each of the grooves. I've made tabs and plenty of backing tracks for you to start practicing right away. You can download all this from the links down below in the description box. It's an instant download, so don't forget to hit return to merchant at the end of your PayPal payment. All right, let's get groovy. Okay, let's just shortly discuss why there is a difference between jazz funk and regular funk, pop funk as I call it. There's just a slight difference in how we play it, and also in jazz funk we play a lot of swing 16 notes. So instead of 1E and E, 2E and E, we have also 1E and 2E and E, but the first of two is always longer. Just like in jazz swing, but with 16 notes. The second thing, and that's very important to me, is in pop funk you usually play, like, let's say you play a C9, usually play through all this, the entire chord a lot of times. In jazz funk, if you listen to Scofield, we play a lot of just two strings, chord fragments. I take a chord like this C7 chord, which we're gonna have in the first groove, 3, 2, 3, C7, and I split it into the lower two and the upper two. The middle is the same, is common to both. And now when I have a downstroke, I just play these two strings, and when I play an upstroke, just these two. So this is all just very versus we play very tiny. Okay, so those are, I think, the most different things, and also of course we use a lot of jazz chords, which I'm going to show you in this video. All right, let's get to the first groove. Alright, so here's first groove. We have this C7 that I told you before, and we do exact the same thing as I told you before. We start with this chord fragment, the third and the seventh of the C7 chord, second and third of the fretboard. So, and I slide into it, just play these two. Watch out for your right hand. I know that's hard to do. The thing is, you have to get the rhythm in your head, and then your right hand is automated, and whenever there is strings to hit, you hit them. Whenever there is not, you continue in the air. So you always have a constant flow. Okay, we get to that later a little deeper. Okay, so all right. Then we have a little rest, and then I take the lower part of this chord and I also slide into the C7. Then I have a little scratch. Then I go to the upper strings again, right? Then a little scratch again, and this time I play them both, down, up, All right, and that's actually it. Then I repeat that. And instead of those last two, I play a bass line that goes to the C. And I mute the string here, the A string, first, second, third. Right? Let's listen to that and watch it at slow tempo with the playback. Groove number 2 is actually a variation, an extension of groove number 1 of the basic jazz funk groove, or one of the basic jazz funk grooves. And this time I play all 3 notes of the C7 and I mute them. Right? Not open, but muted. Then 1 to the left, to B7 and back. And I start on 1 and 2 and. Now I play a C9 13 chord. Here is the C9 chord. If I take the C7, bridge over, I get a C9, and here is the 13. So I don't need the root. Second, third by barring, and the 5th. C9 13 chord, or simply C13. And now, as a contrast to the very tiny picking of just 2 or 3 strings, I now play all 4 strings. Then I lift this up and I press that 3rd of the E string. Now I have only a C9 chord. Four is rest, beat 4. Beat 1 is also a rest, and on beat 1 and I play chord fragments again. Chord fragments are parts of chords. This is a C7 here. I guess you know this cowboy kind of chord. And the upper 2 strings are the 5th and the 3rd. And that's what I take out of this chord. This gives me 2 chord tones. And it's easier to kind of make a riff out of it than with a whole chord. And it sounds more funky. All right, I slide down 3 and 5. 1 to the left and up again. And then I hit it another time on 1 and 1. Then there's a little rest again, and on beat number 3 I play these guys. That's a C major triad, regular C major triad, 5, 5, 5 DGB strings. Go down chromatic. That's nothing, just a chromatic. And then I land on this one. That's a B flat triad. And it's actually, if you take into consideration that the bass plays the C at that time, what you get is a C9 sus4 chord. This was a C9 chord. Move the 3rd into the 4th and you get a C9 sus4. And we just play the upper chord of this. These 3. Right? So, 3, 4, 1. Then I repeat the first part. But instead of, I now go up and play some more chord fragments. I have a C7 up here. Here you go. And I take the upper two strings. That's the 7th of the chord and the 3rd of the chord. 11th fret of B and 12th fret of the E string. I played, I think, like this. Yeah, you can play like this or like this. It doesn't matter really. All right, from here to all right, so here's the second part slowly. Now let's listen to this at slow tempo with the play along. Groove number 4 is heavily inspired by John Scofield's Sax-A-Go-Go album and a special title. I cannot name it here and I changed the chord a bit so I don't get a claim for copyright infringement. All right, we start with a C13, a jazz chord. That's the, here would be the C, 8th fret of the D, 9, 10 and 8th fret. Here's actually another C by barring. And we play 5/16 notes. All open, all straight. 1 E and a 2, 3 and gives us a C9 sus4 chord without the root. So just this is a B flat triad and it's the upper chord of a C9 sus4 chord. I played once and I slide it into nirvana, so that means I release the pressure on my way down. Okay, 3 and then next bar 1 and I play a C mixolydian line. I start, here's the C, I start on its 3rd, that's the 7th of the A string, the E, and I'm palm mute all the strings now. So not open, but palm muted. 1 and then the 5th. That's just the C7 arpeggio from the 3rd. The B flat, 7, 10, 8. Now I hammer to the 10, which sometimes isn't heard very well when we palm mute, but that's okay. And back. 1. Oh, sorry, 1. And back to the 5th. That's the 10th fret. Then very quickly up again. Same thing, and now different line at the end. Palm mute again. Now I play the C minor pentatonic with the major 3rd in there. I start on the 10th fret of the that's the root actually. Here is the pentatonic. I guess you all know this. Here is the root. 1 and then from the minor 3rd to the major 3rd. 8 to 9th hammer, and then we continue with the minor pentatonic. 8, 11, 8. One and 2 and 3 and 4, straight 8 notes. All right, here is the entire groove number 4 at slow tempo with the playback. right, and here is the last groove. I play a C9, 7, 8, 7, 8. That's a C9. Here would be the root. We don't play that. It's also an E half diminished chord. All right, that's the same thing depending on what the bass plays in the root. All right, I start with a rest, and I always put my hand, my palm here to feel the beat. 1, because on 1 E, I have that upstroke. 1 E, right? Then another rest, and now I have a real scratch. 1 E. Then I go to the left and to the right, right? And now I have some octaves. I just shot a Wes Montgomery video, so I was a little inspired by the octaves. And we are on D, that's the 5th of the A, and here's another D, the octave, on the 7th of G. Don't play the D string. You have to mute it with your index finger by touching it. Also, the index finger touches the E string. And we have upstrokes because we're all on off beats. 1 to the right, D sharp, 1 to the right, E. So, and see how I have my palm on here on the beats, and I play the up beats. Then 4 scratches. Okay, everything up till here. 3, 4. Actually, 1 rest and 3 scratches. Whatever. You know, you get the feeling for it. Okay. Then we have a C9 sus4. We had that before in the John Scofield style lick. Here would be the root. 8, 7, 6. 1 E and E. 2 scratches then. Then 1 to the left with your index. This gives us a C9 now. We had a C9 sus4. Now we are in C9. Right? 1 E and E, 2 E. Now I add my pinky to the 8th fret. That's the root of the E string. And what we get is still a C9. Right? This is a typical funk, pop funk chord. I played twice upstrokes. And then I have a chord fragment again. This is the B flat is the 7th of a C7 chord. And this is the 5th of a C7 chord. 6 of E and 8 of B. And I slide up and down. All right, here's the entire phrase or the entire groove at slow tempo with the playback. If you're interested in jazz-related comping style, rhythm accompaniment like gypsy comping, Latin, bossa nova, or regular jazz comping, check out my channel. I have plenty of videos up here. Alright, if you like this video, please give me a fat thumbs up and don't forget to share the love and the knowledge. Subscribe to my channel, hit that little bell notification so you never miss anything. And I see you next week. Servus, Baba.